Should prisoners be allowed to keep their franchise and vote in elections? It's a fair question, and it's one that's been debated in Canada and the US. But in 2002, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled on Sauvé v. Canada, overturning an Elections Canada law that bars prisoners from voting. In the US, the rules vary by state, with currently only 3 imposing a lifelong ban on voting rights for felons. So prisoner voting is nothing new in Canada. We've had it now for 5 elections. But when examining which ridings in Canada have large prison populations, and if they could determine some elections results, it's worth examining further, I think. Well, fortunately, so did the Conservative Party of Canada, because MP Jim Miglinski filed an order paper in the House of Commons asking that very question. The results are in, and we will, as always, post the entire document so you can see how many prisoners voted in each riding across the country last election. But I want to highlight 2 ridings in particular for you: Elmwood-Transcona in Manitoba and Churchill River in Saskatchewan. Both ridings are where incumbent Conservative MPs lost, and they lost by less than the margin of prison votes cast. In Elmwood-Transcona, the NDP candidate won by just 51 votes. Meanwhile, there were 125 ballots cast by incarcerated electors. And in the Saskatchewan riding of Churchill River, another Conservative was defeated by an NDP candidate, while 338 prison ballots were cast. But here is what's most interesting. Both the defeated incumbents were Conservative, as I said, but they were also outspoken and tough on crime. Lawrence Towett, who was defeated in Manitoba, told the House of Commons in 2012 that he wanted to crack down and get tough on crime. And Rob Clark was a 3-term MP in Saskatchewan, and who was also a former RCMP officer. So as it stands, we had 2 Conservative lawmakers who vowed to get tough on crime, one a former cop, defeated by prisoners who held the balance of power in those ridings. Now, we can't know for sure how each prisoner voted, but do you think that any inmates would ever vote for the party who wanted to see them stay in prison longer and face things like mandatory minimum sentencing? Of course not. So what do you make of all of this? Unfortunately, I don't see the law being changed back in Canada anytime soon after the 2002 Supreme Court ruling. But this could be a lesson for our American viewers, especially those in the state of Florida, where a political action committee is attempting to have the Supreme Court overturn that state's ban on those with felonies from voting. And in a state like Florida, which is so valuable in the Electoral College and always seems to be a close race every presidential election, would you like to see the over 1.7 million convicted felons regain their right to vote and possibly tip every election from now on to the soft-on-crime Democrats? If you don't, take Canada as a warning and as an example that when felons vote, they can vote out any politician trying to get tough on crime. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. Thanks as always for watching. Click subscribe on our YouTube channel so you never miss a video.